What's going on, everyone? Forex Fargo checking in. Forex Fargo weekly webinar, December 6th, 2020 through December 11th, 2020. This is the second official week of December. So I'm going to kind of call it now since we already know what through all of these November, since the elections, we've seen super bullish moves on a lot of these pairs, against the US dollar. So I'm expecting some type of slight retracement. I'm not looking, not going to call it a Fibonacci retracement or anything like that, but, we should be looking for some type of exhaustion on a lot of these pairs. So that's something I'll go over. Pairs that we're going to look at this week, just keeping on with the same theme overall: AU, GJ, EU, GU, GA, EA, and then gold, right? So just jumping right into it, right? So last week, now that I have upgraded, right, I actually can make this a lot easier for us, right? So last week, all right, so let's do this real quick, right? So I actually encourage everyone to, what's it called? I encourage everyone to, upgrade to TradingView Pro or Pro Plus. I actually had it 2 years ago, and then I didn't realize how much I missed it. This replay button is actually important if, someone is trying to learn, or if you're trying to learn from your mistakes, right? So last week I spoke about the fact that I noticed a double top for forming, just look how prices in this zone, blah, 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 right? So I took a trade from, right around here, 74 cents, and took it for about 50, 60 pips, right? However, I was able to enter a trade, and I'll press the play button in a second. I was able to enter a trade just based off the fact that price was exhausting around, I think, 73,400 or so, right? And I just want to take a look to see if that's like a daily level. Yeah, so it's like it was like the high of a day from November 20th, right? From November 17th, right? So there were some still orders loading there and pending, right? So long story short, what we're gonna do is we're gonna press play, right? We'll kind of see what happened, right? So we can see, price kind of wicked up, was respecting this right here as this August, monthly resistance, was also, looking to fill more orders, right? So I took this trade on the way down. And like I was saying, somewhere around right here, which is where that was the, weekly, not the weekly, but the high from November 17th, right? Then we could see, some news came out, US dollar just been weak overall. So there was no real need for, the trend to be bearish. I was just looking for a slight retracement trade. And then I did, like I said, enter the trade, from somewhere down here, was able to catch this move all the way to the way up, right? Now, I actually caught it, probably to the 74, 502 area. And then I will talk about why I have that marked in a second, right? Right, so then I believe this is where price is at currently right here, right? So we're now currently looking at price and it's flirting around this 72, 74, 250-ish area, blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? So that's where we're at. Okay. Now, before I go ahead and talk about what I'm going to be looking at for this week, right, we can just see right here that price is, respecting these, Q2 levels that we have. Price now, since, we have flooded with the 74, 500 area, we can push all the way back up, optimistic, right? We can push up to 74, that's not that much, 74, 825 or so, which is, July, some July levels. And then, if we are able to, maintain momentum above this level, right? So, just this is what I'll do from the path, right? So, from here, if we're able to, we should be able to, wick fill that candle, something like that, right? And this is what we will be looking for, once we break past this level. What I'm cautious of, right? So same thing I was calling, buys. I'm not buys, sells last week, right? I'm still thinking that we are going to have, like I said, some type of retracement, right? So it didn't call a double. We weren't able to catch the double top last week, right? I'm not going to force the trade. I'm just going to monitor price action around here. I'll draw another blue ellipse. My trading has gotten much easier just identifying the levels that, I'd like to trade out of, right? So this is a 19 pip risk, and then we're looking for what, like 76 pips to the downside, probably at this, 73, 740 level, or even the 74 level right here. It's like 50 pips, right? 50 to 85 pips, which is not bad. It's like a 2 to 1, or a 4 to 1, I believe. Yeah, so this is what I'll be looking for on AU, right? So so just to make it easier, if we lose, we lose once again. So I'll be looking for a sell limit at 74. I'll call it 74, like 505, right? Stop loss will be 74. Call it. We'll have it a tight stop loss. TP1, TP2, TP3. Right, so the TP levels that I'd like to get them from, right? So if we're right here, the first one, the 2 to 1, we're gonna look for the 74 cents and like the 200 area, right? So 245 or so. Then we're gonna look for the 74, and then we'll look for the 73. We'll call it 855, right? So we'll be gracious. So that's somewhere around there. So we don't get caught up trying to catch the entire thing, right? Then once price gets down there, what I'm looking for, if price is going to respect this zone, a couple of things could happen, right? So I'm taking my time because I want everyone to just understand that, we have no control over the market. The only thing we have control over is our emotions and, when we want to enter a trade, right? So, regardless if this sell limit, doesn't end up working, I don't necessarily care about that. I'm just showing you guys and, how you plan ahead and accordingly, right? So pretty much we'll be looking for some type of resistance down here, right? So we're looking for a resistance level to, swoop back down here, and then hopefully we should have some more pending orders and then back up to the upside, right? So this is just what I'm looking for this week. Doesn't mean it's going to be a big week. It is approaching holiday season, so a lot of people are, probably spending time, I don't necessarily know, or a lot of us are at home trying to make money, right? So this is my forecast on AU. On GJ, right? On GJ, I actually posted one of these trades, on my Trading View account. This one was an easy call. I actually spoke about this, I think, last week. Right, yes, I spoke about this last week. Let's just go down to the 4-hour time frame, right? I put the blue ellipse, just doing the replay button again. We were speaking about waiting to see what would happen, price action, price action, price action. We press the play button. We'll just speed this up a little bit, right? So we'll press this play button. We can kind of see that, like, 4 hour, these are 4-hour candles, by the way. I prefer trading off the 4-hour time frame. So it took about a few days, and then bam, we fucking blew past our weekly resistance level. Price came all the way back down to right now. This daily resistance became daily support, right? So right now, price was flirting between those. And what I'm looking for, hopefully we can see a continuation to the upside, because this price is just super bullish right now, right? So right now we can see that price closed at our weekly, resistance previously. But if we're going to change this, we can change this as our, daily support, 4-hour zone, whatever. I'm going to change this one for us so we don't get confused and understand that this is not a resistance level, though this is our support level, right? And if you think that the trading, you need anything more, if you need anything more than this, using the indicators and all that, kudos to you. I'm not throwing shade on anyone, but when they say less is more, less is truly more. I'm catching big moves, and I don't have any indicators. The thing I have right here is the RSI. I keep an eye on it when 70% overbought, 30% oversold, and then the 50%, like the pullback or whatever. But when I'm catching moves like this is just simply just price action and looking left. You don't need anything more than that, right? So just doing this real quick. Just want to see what this looks like on a daily level, right? So we can see on the daily level, right, we have so many touches, right? So we failed to break this weekly resistance level, and this weekly resistance level is holding from September, right? So this is what I'll do. We'll call this September resistance, right? So we understand. All right, so we've had one fill in November. We've had 2 fills, 3 fills, 4 fills, and 5 fills, right? So we've had 5 touches above at this line, and we've had wicks to the upside. And I'm still going to be, remain highly bullish on this as well. Once again, I know that I'm calling some retracements on some of these, but when price is trending, you don't necessarily want to go against it. Now, just pulling back from a 4-hour, perspective, looking at this, at the smaller time frames, on 2 hour, we kind of have like a little spinning bottom, if you want to call that, right? You got a nice little hammer right here. So what I'll do is I'll pull this back because maybe we'll kind of get a wick down right here one more time. And then we probably will be able to catch this to the upside. We don't catch this to the upside, right? You know, I'll explain what else could happen. Once again, you don't need to catch all of these big moves, right? So let's just make this a little bit easier, right? So what I'd be looking for on this, this would be a just understanding. If you guys are following along with me, I show you guys, like rally, hold on. So if you guys are following along with anything, what we're looking for this type of trade is pretty much like a rally based rally, right? So let me get used to this, right? So rally base rally. So we're looking for something like this, right? This is what we'll be looking for in this type of trade, right? Where prices, come all the way back up, right? Now we're looking for the retest. Sorry. Price has shot all the way up, right? Looking for, sorry. We'll get better at this overall. One day, one day. Looking for the retest around this zone so we can look for that continuation back over there, right? So this is pretty much, kind of how you map things out. So let's go ahead and set this up real quick. We'll look for a buy limit at 139, call it 775, actually 825. Want to make sure that it gets triggered. Our stop loss will be shy of 139. I'm gonna call it 625. I don't want to take that. GJ moves viciously. So we got a 20 pip stop loss. So just off rip first. TP is gonna be 140. 140. 255. 40. 35. And then TP at the top. 625. Not there. So you can add if you want, the 5 15 of TP 635, right? So we'll look for something like this on GJ, right? Now, if this doesn't happen on GJ, right, let's go ahead and not be super biased. Let's understand what's going on, right? So let's look at this from a daily perspective. Like I said, we have so many touches at this level, right? So if this does not happen, what could potentially happen is we could see a pullback just back all the way back down to this support level right here. I could actually see both of these things happening. So we will go ahead and have two of them set up, just understanding that these are our daily lows right here, right? So I have this set, that's our September resistance, that's our daily support. We're looking for two trades to happen here. Obviously, if price goes back down to 139, we will be looking for long positions. Everyone should be looking for long positions, right? So we'll just keep a monitor. We'll see what happens with price around this level over here. First, I want to monitor what happens right there. Move that over a little bit. On the contrary, I'd also like to see what happens if price fails to break that. On another note, if you drop this down to a 2 hour time frame, you can literally just see what the fuck I just did. I'm looking for a trade, but if you just go like this, right, I'm looking to see how price is going to break out of this. All right, so pretty much so you guys understand, this is spinning doji, but yes, we're at a September resistance level. Yes, we have all of these wicks up to the upside. When price does come over here, if we just look left, price did drop all the way down. So we aren't going to do ourselves, a disservice. We are going to go ahead and plan accordingly, right? So this is what we're looking at, and this would be a rally, a base rally on the buy side if we were to do so. And I think this would be a rally-based drop on the sell side, right? So the buy would look like this, and then the sell would look like this. Rally-based drop, right? And this is what our, actually, let me move these, right? So the sell looks like this. Sell looks like this, and then the buy looks like that, right? So, hopefully that will help you guys. If you take the sell, right? So that's the buy limit. If you guys take the sell, obviously, I'm not going to put a sell limit because, you don't want to trade against the trend, but we would be looking for ideally a sell at this 140. If you could get there, stop loss, appropriate, anywhere between 15, 20 pips, right? Up to you. Call it 15 to 30 pips if you'd like. Make sure that your risk reward is, making sense and everything. And this could profit us a, 100 pips, right? So you can have something like that, right? So we'll have the sell and then we'll have the buy. So, pick your poison. It could be either or. I'm actually going to screenshot this so you guys can get an idea of what that would look like. I'm taking my time because I want people to learn, and it's not that people aren't learning, but before I do take the time to drop a course, take advantage of the free information. Not an idiot. I don't know everything, but I've been trading 2 years solid. Like I said last webinar, for 2 years straight. So that's almost 3,000 plus hours I put in, and this is something I'm passionate about, and I refuse to give up. So that being said, you have someone that's dedicated and determined. And I actually have been working on, my academy, which is why I'm taking the time to just, make sure that people understand what's going on. I trade supply and demand, support and resistance. I don't even have trend lines on my thing anymore. I understand how to use them. Actually, if we want to, what we'll do on this one, since we're speaking of a trend line, right? We will draw a trend line, not forcing it, 1, 2, run it through, right? But we will draw a trend line right here, just understanding and to make sure what will happen, right? So if we have the break of the trend line or it respects it, which aligns perfectly, right? And this is why you don't force trend lines, right? So this aligns perfectly, okay? So, if we have a bounce off the trend line, we could go up. If we have the, fails to respect this trend line and, this support on the ascending trend line now becomes, resistance. So then we should see the down push that I'm expecting all the way back down to this daily support level, right? So, this is how you just make sure that you plan things accordingly, and make sure that you plan things accordingly and plan ahead, right? So that's how that works. Moving on, we are going to go to EU real quick, right? So EU, all right. So last week, I actually, thought that we were going to have some type of retracement. What happened? Price fucking, like I was talking about RBR, rally-based rally. Price, seemed to find support above this, 119, 350 area, which is kind of, I was expected, right? It definitely was expected. We've been in these levels before, but I wasn't expecting that push all the way back up to the upside. Don't need to hit the replay button. I understand what happened. This was a whole 200 pips I could have missed, but not gonna fret. Looking at this on the weekly time frame, just moving this up, cleaning this up. We don't need the trend lines. They look good, but I mean, better when you just got boxes. All right, so looking at this to the left, right? So, it was no evidence when I tell you guys you only need price action, right? So look at this candle right here. This candle on the left side was 183 pips, right? And this is when price had kind of broke, right? So if you were to draw a zone, right? If I expand this zone, right, all the way over here, actually, I'm gonna do it for you guys so you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So if I draw this zone, there's no coincidence that when price got up here, right, and 2020, that price failed to break above these levels. Okay, so we were flirting with it, flirting with it, flirting with it. Price knew, and the market. It's not that the market knows what's gonna happen, but there are certain things that we can't control. You just have to plan ahead and accordingly, right? So I have been known and have marked these, understanding that this was, kind of like May 2018 levels, right? But I failed to look at the fact that when price did break above this, right? So we did have this drop on the downside. Obviously, we're going to have the same kind of, mirrored push up, right? So I was not able to capitalize on that. However, we are to look at this on, the other side, right? We can see that right now price is at these, May 2000, May 2018 levels, 2018 resistance, right? We'll just call it levels. Won't even call it resistance because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, right? What we can do, what we do have control over, we don't have control over what happens, but what we do have control over, right, is how we see the market. All right. So just like a lot of these other pairs, I was saying that, because we're trading against the US dollar, how their RBRs, our RBDs, rally based drops, right? So this is what we'll be looking at similarly on this EU. Now I would be expecting a short position. Won't spend too much time on EU, but I will be expecting a short position, simply because there's got to be, I don't know, there's just got to be some type of fucking exhaustion. I'm not, saying that we can't trend all the way up for a very long time. What I'm looking for is not that much. This looks like 200 pips to the downside. What I will do is mark off though from some daily levels, right? So we understand that, we got some, we'll call this the daily support right here. So we'll call this our daily support. And everyone's like, oh man, this is not that complicated. Trading's not that difficult. It is not, my friend. It is not, it truly is not. And then if you want to, you can call this a little, do this right here. And then if you want to label that, I wouldn't. I would just understand that this is a 4 hour and slash daily, buy zone, right? Or supply zone. And from this April, May 2018 levels all the way down to our daily support is, 70, 80 pips or whatever, right? So this is just something that I'll be looking for. Once again, just looking for retracements this week. Even if my trading is not all that, or, all heavy or anything like that, at least we understand what it is that we're looking for. And then once price gets down there, you would definitely should probably shoot back up there, right? So this is what we will be looking at this week with EU. GU, same situation, same account. I actually caught this GU trade beautifully. I was in it a few days. I know that I spoke about the fact that, I was looking for the retracement last week, but you can't deny when prices not breaking down these, when prices failing to break past these daily lows, like, because I look at the charts every day, I don't need to know where price is at. But if I open my chart and I see the prices around 133, 200 or so, and I realize that these are daily low levels and, price is just collecting, some more liquidity, then I'm going to enter a trade confidently, not even really going to look for the confluence. I'm going to enter it confidently because I know how I trade and I know that, that's kind of how sometimes things work, right? So we're going to move this over. That's not what happened last week. I'm actually expecting another push up to, 135 just optimally so we can get some short positions here. I got no problem taking a short from 135 all the way to like one something. Yeah, 135 to 133 or something. So that's like 120 some pips. But I'm only going to be looking for the short, once we respect this level right here. So we might even get another push up. right? So I don't want to get stopped out. So be looking for something like this. Once again, you have to do your due diligence, and sometimes you could set sell limits, right? Which works to people's advantage if you are a lot busy with things going on in your everyday life and you're not dedicated to the charts. Um, However, make sure you use your stop loss. Like, and also if you're watching these webinars and you're not trading with your real money, like I strongly encourage you to do the paper trade and trade out a demo account, or just even mark up your own charts and make sure you're understanding what's going on. Just keep the same type of method. I've been trading the same. I even used to trade with more stuff. I've dumbed it down because I realized I did not need all the extra noise, right? So, that's just my word of advice to you all. Um, Moving on, we're gonna go over these last two pairs real quick right here. Actually, it's three more. We got GA, right? So GA last week, right? So if you guys do follow last week, I spoke about the fact, and once again, this was like, December or something like that. So I spoke about the fact that price is going to push up from this blue ellipse. Look at this. This is like a triple bottom. This was an easy call. If you guys took that trade, kudos to you. This was 154 pips, easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, no drawdown, no pullbacks. You don't even have to get worried about it hitting your stop loss or nothing like this, right? So in about 2 days or whatever, you were able to capitalize on the trade, and then price pulled back down to this one, I think 80 or something like this. Will the price pulled back down somewhere around there? If it didn't, oh no, it did not, right? So we had a wow, interesting. All right, so this was a deuce. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So price pulled all the way back down here. Wow. Isn't that amazing? All of that happened last week. All of that happened last week. Holy shit. Wow. Fucking amazing, right? So you could have taken this trade so many times. You could have taken this trade one time. You could have taken it, from here to here. It just doesn't matter. This is why I have zones, and this is why I'm saying less is more, right? Because, when you understand and you just have simple levels, right? So I have this zone, just wanted to, share this with you guys. This zone is 145 pips, right? From my zone to this line is 58 pips. From my market level swap to this is 56 pips, right. Okay, so there's no need in being greedy here. Before I even press that play button, I spoke about price coming all the way back down there. I didn't even know what I was just talking out of my ass, right? Because I believe in my levels. They may not fucking always hit perfectly, but when prices are around them like this, you should be happy with yourself, and you should pat yourself on the back, right? So because we're going to be looking for some type of retracement on that, I'll probably be looking for a pullback, maybe around. Actually, won't even have to look for a pullback. We're definitely going to catch this now, probably back to the upside. And once again, price is just setting up because the momentum is already set. Price is not going to turn bullish all of a sudden on these GA pairs. If I look at this from a weekly time frame real quick, let me just not talk out of my ass. Yeah, okay. So from a weekly time frame, you can see that we literally went from this zone all the way back up to our November weekly resistance levels, whatever you want to call them, just make it easy. Then if you drop down to a daily time frame, you can kind of see actually on this daily time frame, we're definitely gonna fucking catch this all the way to the to the side up, and moves like this, right? You see this wick alone itself is 140 pips, right? If you catch 70 pips of that wick alone to the upside, right, you should be content with yourself. There's no need for you to rush your process. There's no need for you to compare yourself to what other people are fucking doing out here in the world and in the markets, right? So we'll do something like this. Once again, follow along with the trade. I'm actually surprised that that actually happened the way that it did. And once I go ahead and look at this EU trade, I know that EU definitely did something similar. So I had this as Thursday daily close, right? So no coincidence that this Thursday daily close has now become our daily support, right? Actually, but before I do that, since we are keeping on with the theme, let's go ahead. I hope you guys do take the time to watch all of this. So, right, actually, yeah, we're looking for something, right? So I don't remember what happened, but we were looking to see if price would, right? So whatever. This happened, it was part of the move, part of the move. But you see how this was Thursday daily close, right? Because we failed to break above this, but because there were so many orders, still haven't been filled, haven't been filled, since price had been down here in November, right? It's only makes sense that, price continuous trend, right? So moving on, what we're gonna look at now, once again, this is probably gonna be a rally based rally on this one. We can see that price is probably gonna push. Let's do the same thing what we did on, let's see real quick. So, yep, same thing, right? So we've got this nice, beautiful wick right here. So, easily we should be able to catch that to the upside. I'm definitely not worried about that. That's what I'll be looking for on EU. And then plus we got this spinning bottom. Look at this. If you want to call this right there, 1, 2, and then 3 rejections, triple bottom. So you can add confluences however way you want to. Is what I tell people, like I try to keep things simple because like you can get caught up with these fancy ass words. No offense to people in the UK, you get very lost in the accents thinking that they sound smarter than they actually are. And like, not saying that they're not, but like, I'm a little old kid from the fucking hood. So like, I'm sure that me and you relate more than, other people that either come from money or, just don't come from the same walk of life as you. Right. So, um, one last thing I would just like to go over is just gold trade, right? So last week, if I'm being honest, right, I believe I called this, gold seller, gold buy. Then I didn't even mention it in my webinar last week, but I noticed that price was around 1780. I had already had this marked on my chart, right? So these are like July levels. I was just like, fuck it. I took a buy. I probably caught it for like 200 pips or so. When price, I caught it from at 1800, right? So I probably like stopped right there. I could have caught the trade back, to the upside, but what I'll be looking for on gold, since we are having some retracements, I don't know what is going to happen. However, we're just gonna monitor this 1840-ish level right here, right, and just kind of see what happens. We could get, since I'm expecting the dollar to, trend a little bit to the upside, we should probably, get some type of dump on gold, at least to this 1812 level, right? That's just looking at where obvious zones are at. If it's not obvious to you guys, you shouldn't trade it. All right, so I'm looking at something like that. I'll move this up a little bit more. Excuse me. All right, so that looks good for me. Maybe that looks better. All right, so that looks better. So what I'll be looking for, I'll be looking to see if gold respects this. We'll have this pull back down here, and then if we are to come down here, we probably are going to fucking. That's what I'm looking for, hopefully. Like I say, when you just plan ahead, whether you're right or wrong, at least you took the time and you know what the fuck you're looking at. And it just makes your trading for the week overall just like a lot easier, right? So, just looking at this is what this looks like from both perspectives, right? So, the short position and then the long position, right? So we're looking for the short and then we'll be looking for the ideal long. So we'll be looking for that. And then I believe that should be also, once again, everyone, thank you all for, checking in, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want. And then this is our Forex Fargo weekly webinar for our Forex Fargo weekly webinar for December 6th through December 11th. 2020. Take care, everyone. Have a happy trading week. Remember, take your partials, set your stop losses, at break even after you take your partials and move them into profit, and then set it and forget it. Make sure you have a trading plan, whether you are focused on percentage gains, pips, just make sure you stick to it. And then most importantly, plan your trades and trade your plan accordingly. All right. Forex Fargo checking out. Till next time, we'll see you then.